Welcome to EntreProgrammers Podcast, the podcast for developpreneurs, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here. Just want to take a second to thank one of the sponsors for this episode of EntreProgrammers, DigitalOcean. So I've talked about DigitalOcean a lot before on the show, and that's because they're just such an awesome company. I use them to host all of my websites, basically simpleprogrammer.com, which gets around 200,000 page views a month, runs on there, super smooth. Get Up and Code runs on there. The EntreProgrammers podcast that you're listening to right now, we use DigitalOcean for that. I use it for just about everything, and it's such a good deal. You know, as far as hosting goes, right, if you're going to run your own Linux server and do your own web hosting at $5 a month, which is the starting plan for DigitalOcean, you just really can't beat that. It's crazy. And when you do need something super powerful, DigitalOcean comes through for you as well, and it's so easy to scale up to that. I started out on Simple Programmer with a $10 a month box, and I was even able with that to get 100,000 page views a month without much of a problem. But when I wanted to scale up, all I had to do was bring the server down, expand the size, go up to the higher size droplet, and bam, I was up there, and I've expanded it a couple of times since then. So DigitalOcean, definitely awesome company. I would definitely recommend that you check it out if you have any idea of creating a website online, or you want to have your own Linux server to be able to do whatever it is that you want to do, some development or put out a production app. There's a ton of great things that you can do with DigitalOcean. Go to digitalocean.com and use the code EntreProgrammers to get a $10 credit. So digitalocean.com, EntreProgrammers is your code, and you get $10 credit, good for basically 2 months at a $5 box, so you can check it out.
All right, we're live.
Whoop whoop.
Sweet. Back.
And
Derek's
Derick is coming from the
back cave.
the lounge.
Yes, the lounge. Bow, 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 bow. Yeah, trying out new lighting. I've got a new webcam that has a lot of different fun settings. I was showing you guys a moment ago, but let me turn it back to the defaults. Show everybody just how blown out this looks.
That's
there we
awful.
go. Yeah.
So, what are you using? Are the soft boxes are they actual like photo studio?
Yeah, these are studio soft light boxes. I ordered them off of Amazon. They're 24 by 24 square, so they're pretty dang big, sitting this close to me. I tried to find smaller boxes, but I couldn't.
Are they bouncing off the wall or directly?
No, they're directly facing me. So there's one on each side of me facing down toward me. They're a little too close, but I don't have a whole lot of option for moving them back farther. I could put them up higher on the ceiling, about 3 or 4 feet farther back, which I probably want to do eventually. But that's going to require some reworking of shelves and mounting things into the wall directly instead of using the stands that they came with.
Yeah.
But it was dirt cheap. It was $75 for both of these things. It came with the tripods to hold them. They're collapsible. They come with this nice little carrying case, and they came with these ridiculously, monstrously oversized compact fluorescent light bulbs. It's hard to call them compact at all, but they are CFL bulbs. But seriously, the bulbs were the size of pro footballs. And they were incredibly bright. They're clearly meant to be used in a studio setting from farther away. Yeah. So I left those out, and I just got some standard LED 60-watt equivalent light bulbs out of my storage closet and put them in the light boxes, and it's working out pretty well, I think.
Derick, next time you go to a coffee shop, you have to take these with you.
Yes.
You can sit there on your iPhone with
Yes. Set up the camera and everything. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a software developer. This is the only way I'm going to get a tan.
That's right.
They are daylight rated bulbs, though.
They are. They're full spectrum bulbs that I got put in this thing.
Speaking of daylight spectrum LED bulbs, I have ended my experiment with home automation yet again. Yeah, I was like, so apparently, I was using, I forget the name of it, but it was from Philips, It was the Philips.
The Hue.
Yeah, the Hue, and so it was kind of like marginally useful. I found that the automation routines that you could set up were like useful. You'd set them up and you'd enjoy it about 80% of the time, and then there'd be like 20% of the time that you just want to punch the thing because it would do exactly like what you don't want it to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then they updated, quote unquote, updated the iOS app, and they took away some of my ability to control the lights individually, which was the only thing I was using, because like I had it set up so that I could hit a button on my phone and turn this light off when I'm on my treadmill, and turn that light off when I'm going to be on something like this. And they took that ability away, so I was like, screw it, and I just went on Amazon, listed it, got my money back basically. And yeah, home automation is an absolute train wreck, and just more trouble than it's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Someday.
At least in the commercial products.
Yeah.
I think the home automation in the do-it-yourself realm is pretty slick. One of my good friends and former co-workers from Derick, Brendan Satram, he did a presentation on home automation recently, and there's some pretty slick stuff in there. It's on the do-it-yourself front, at least.
Like I think I could see it. Like for me, what I wanted was to be able to when I start this, when I start a conference call, or I turn my headset on or something, the lights adjust, right? That would be useful. Or when I get on my treadmill and turn the power on, the lights adjust. That would be useful. But just like my only option was to set up a timer, and my routine is pretty consistent, but it's not like down to the second.
Right.
So, yeah.
This keeps cutting in and out, guys. I'm going to reboot. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So while Chuck's doing that, I have to say fair warning to anybody out there that expects me to be productive. I bought No Man's Sky yesterday.
Hold on.
So
what is this? I gotta look at this.
There goes my productivity.
No Man's Sky.
Yeah, No Man's Sky. It's an independent video game that's been getting all kinds of hype for the last couple of years, and especially in the last 3 to 6 months on the size and expansiveness and breadth of gameplay and everything else. It's not the most beautiful game out there by any means.
It's 4K.
But holy cow, is it addicting! It's just it's extremely simple gameplay too. It's fly your ship around, land, collect resources, build weapons, upgrade your ship, upgrade your exosuit. Make sure you stay alive at all times. Find these alien outposts and get little missions, side missions to do. It's like
Go is what you're saying.
No, it's more like if you took all of the side quests from things like Skyrim and Dragon Age Inquisition, if the entire game was nothing but side quests, and then you put Minecraft's building ability, crafting ability into it at the same time. And then the real draw, the thing that's been getting hype about this game for so long, is the expansive universe that they've created. The developers have said something to the effect of they expect like less than 1% of the worlds that they have created in this universe to ever be explored.
Wow.
Well, it's procedurally generated, isn't it?
It's a procedurally generated universe. So
there's... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, when you log in, you get stranded on a planet somewhere in their universe. You have no idea where it is, but it's out in the outer edges, outer rims of the galaxy that they created. And I guess the first goal of the game, or the ongoing goal, is to move back toward the core of the galaxy that you're in order to find other players or whatever it is. But there's like such a small chance that you'll ever actually run into another player due to the size of the galaxy and then the number of planets and the time that it takes to go from system to system and everything else. It doesn't sound all that intriguing when you describe it in these terms, But when you sit down and play it, it's the constant, oh, just one more thing, oh, just one more thing, oh, just one more thing. It's a never-ending, oh, just one more thing, and then I'll be done. I mean, I've put probably 5 hours, 6 hours into it in the last 2 days that I've had it, and I just don't want to stop playing.
So it's a procedurally generated world that is the same for everyone.
No, it's completely different for everyone.
Everyone has their own procedurally generated world?
Yeah, there are billions.
It's persistent.
Yes.
It's not the same for everyone. It's one. What I'm trying to say is like you don't have your own.
I see. No, everybody does not have their own galaxy. There is one persistent galaxy in their server architecture, but each person when you start the game for the first time, you are placed in a random planet within that galaxy. So your planet, the planet that you start on, and the solar system that you start within will be different than anyone else's. But it's all within one persistent galaxy in their server system, in their server architecture.
I'm okay with that. I don't like procedurally generated games where it's different for everyone.
Right.
Or every time that you play, because then I'm like, that's kind of lame. Like.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've had a lot of boring experiences with that. There was a series of games called .hack_sign a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
And my wife played the crap out of them, beat them all, and it was fun for a while for me, but it was one of those procedurally generated, randomized dungeons, and it just got old after a while. There's another game that I've been playing called The Division, and they recently released an expansion called The Underground, where you go in the underground subway system of New York City, and they use procedurally generated maps and missions in their underground system, and they've done a phenomenal job with it. They made it so that it maintains familiarity, but it also creates something unique every time you go down there, and they did a really good job with it. So I think a lot of the procedurally generated stuff is getting better in recent years, but there's definitely still a lot left, a lot more work to do, especially in the visual aspect of No Man's Sky. There's a lot of visual updates and tweaks that they could do to the rendering engine and things like that to really make it look more beautiful. But it's a pretty small game overall. It's only like 5 gigs total size, where most games these days are like 50 or 60 gigs.
Oh, interesting. Huh. Yeah, it sounds interesting. It sounds a lot to me like what Spore was supposed to be. Remember that Spore game?
I don't remember that.
It was this really hyped up game. You started off like as a single-celled organism, and then you evolved.
That's right. I do remember that.
And then you eventually became like a galactic civilization, and you like tried to find the galactic core, and it was all like a generated kind of random world. Right. But it you blew through it so fast. You were in, and then it wasn't that interesting. But this game almost sounds like taking it from that point forward, and
right.
Actually, I'd be interested, but I'm definitely not going to touch it.
Yeah, it'll suck your life away if you get into those kind of slow moving. It's slower moving, slower paced, but it's just constant. There's always something to do, and it's continuously interesting. So yeah, that's it. That's my good luck being productive, Derick.
I was actually, it's funny. Just last night, I was thinking one of my thoughts before I was going to bed. I was like, I should do, because I was thinking about playing a game or something, and I think what I was thinking was, because I was thinking about today. I was like, you guys are gonna have to talk me off the ledge again, because I'm thinking about shutting it all down. I'm just.
Oh no, John, you're not eating again, my friend.
Yeah, dude, have a Snickers.
No, I'm alright. I felt good this morning, but I definitely want to eventually see an end. Now I'm sure that I want to see. I do want to move on to a different phase, but I want to wrap up things. But I'll explain that a little bit more, but without sidetracking too much. But basically, I was thinking about playing playing games, like, are dedicating some amount of time and then recording it and creating a separate YouTube channel so that I'm at least like producing something while I'm right. It's like
oh no, you're gonna turn your hobby into another job. Is what you're doing.
Well, oh yeah.
Yeah, John and I talked about this actually at the retreat this was one of the first conversations I had with John actually, was how like we always turn our hobbies into a job.
Yep.
And this was at the our first track about getaway.
But I do like the idea. I mean, even like with this podcast, right? We've turned something into, and we have an artifact that actually produces like you might as well, as many things as possible that you can turn into some kind of production. You might as well, because if you can make it easy and automate it, like, so that's why I was thinking, like, if you're playing video games, maybe you should just record them and throw a YouTube channel up there. And hell, I mean, maybe it gets popular and you're making millions of dollars a month, like PewDiePie, but or maybe not. But then you've got, you know, you're
if you're gonna do that, I'd go the Twitch route or the YouTube live gaming. I guess you can do it either way. But Twitch has become really popular with streaming games. People just literally just turn it on, have Twitch running to stream their game, and just talk about what they're doing and say hi to people as they're playing, and
yeah,
it's become a pretty popular thing to do these days.
But yeah, as for the talking off the ledge part, like I guess where I'm kind of getting to, like I'm you know, more so well, again, there was two things, like you said, Josh. I wasn't eating, and then I just came back from China. Every time I come back from a trip, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. But in reality, I think really what I want to do is be able to not be stuck in the same mold, you know, forever. Mm-hmm. I want to kind of expand out and break out. So I think what I really want to do at this point is get simple programmer, like get the projects that we have finished up, get it to a point where we can sort of get it more automated, get the white labeling model working, and then move on to a new project, like something a departure from it. So that's where I'd eventually like to. I just don't want to, like, I don't know, be continually bound by this system for forever. I guess that's where I'm coming from. So I'm not gonna like drop everything and quit, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I'd like to explore a little bit more freedom type of.
You could always you could try acting, you know, and like maybe go into like movies about outer space and the dimensions of reality.
Yes.
Or you could create a weight loss product.
All right.
John's been getting like, what is it, like 100 comments, you said, on YouTube about him looking like Matthew McConaughey? That's what that joke was a reference to.
It's a daily thing now, like some random person will comment, and it's all different videos, right? It's more so the videos recently, where I'm the most lean is where I get those comments. And then I was walking down the street like a couple of weeks ago, and someone's like, "Hey, Matthew McConaughey," and I was like, "What?" And then I was like, hold on, why did you say that? And they're like, well, you kind of look like Matthew McConaughey. I was like, I don't look at all like Matthew McConaughey.
Nothing close.
Not even close. And they're like, no, you kind of do. Maybe it's kind of just how you walk and expression on your face, maybe too. And I'm like, okay, I don't see it, but you know, thousands of people can't be wrong.
I'm just waiting for somebody to say, it's the shape of your ears. Can I touch your ears?
Well, John, that is infinitely better than the only time I've been compared to two celebrities. The first was I was on a mission trip to Jamaica when I was like 17, and the kids there were like this group of kids, and they started giggling, and they're like, they said one of them ventures over to me, and they're like, "Excuse me, are you?" Well, then this is all in like the pidgin English that they speak down there, but basically he's like, are you Screech from Saved by the Bell?
That's what I was gonna say.
I was like, no.
Awesome.
No. And then I have gotten David Duchovny once or twice, but
Okay,
which
yes.
I'll
Yep, I
I'll
can see
take
that.
that. I greatly prefer that too.
Yeah.
Screech.
You should rename your mailing list to the X-Files.
If you get a popular YouTube channel, you'll figure out exactly who you look like. Because I can tell you exactly. Because it's like 90% is Matthew McConaughey, and then if I'm wearing my glasses, it'll be Jeff Goldblum, and if my hair is short, it'll be John. What's his name from Walking Dead? John. I can't remember his name, but that's pretty much it. It's one of those three, and all three of them have been mentioned multiple times. Like Matthew McConaughey, seriously, there's 100 comments. If you go through my YouTube, there's 100 comments that say that one. So that one, but the Jeff Goldblum, maybe there's like 10 or so, and then the John, what's his name, is like maybe like 4 or 5. I think less. I think that is the most likeness to me. Like when I look at it, like the Walking Dead guy. But I think less people know of him because he died off quickly in the series. So I don't know. It's crazy.
I think you look like Britney Spears.
I was gonna say Ricky Martin.
I was gonna go with John Leguizamo.
Like. There we go. Yeah, I don't. But see, I don't have any kind of mannerisms or anything like that of John. What's it? I can't say it. But if I do like dye my hair, it could be I can be living La Vida Loca.
Totally.
You do live pretty close to Mexico.
It's true.
Oh.
So
I was on the Faster Than Normal podcast this morning.
What's that?
It's an ADHD podcast.
Ah.
It's only 20 minutes long.
It means it's about 10 minutes too long, right?
That's long. Yes.
It's picking up steam, I guess. I guess he just had Seth Godin on there, and he's got Mark. He just interviewed Mark Cuban and some other. Was it Mark Cuban, Seth Godin? There's one other big name on there, so could be good. Could be good exposure. We'll see. I'll probably get a lot more hate mail, a lot more death threats. When I did that ADHD post, I got a lot of death threats and.
Seriously?
We hate you, Matthew McConaughey.
Well, not necessarily death threats, I guess. Just like really, really strong hatred messages.
Yeah. So did you do your spiel on ADHD for that?
Sort of. Like he read the blog post, and that's why he invited me. So he agreed on. Like he was like, we're the same, sort of. But I talked about. He is a good comparison. He's like, that's highly offensive to anyone who's not ADHD. So the opposite. See, he took the opposite approach that I did. I offended everyone who was ADHD. And he offended not ADHD. He says that like ADHD is like having like it's like if you've been driving a Honda, right, and you've gotten good at that, and you're pretty good at driving a Honda, and maybe you've done some like race car driving with the Honda, and then you get a Porsche or Lamborghini, and then it goes much faster and it has a much more powerful engine, and now you can't control that sucker, and and so that's what he considers ADHD to be like, is that you've got a Porsche or a Lamborghini, and so if you don't know how to handle that power, you're going to be running into walls and stuff. So I think that's a pretty good analogy as to my saying it doesn't really exist. And we have different variants, right? Because I really say like it doesn't exist as a psychological condition. It's just an extreme version of the human condition, like an energized, amped up version of and the reason why I say that is because all the strategies I use to deal with it are the exact same strategies that help everyone in life. It's just that they're critical. You know, if you've got, to use his example, if you've got a Lamborghini or a Porsche with a huge engine, the small type of miscalculations are big.
Yeah.
And so you have to have a better system of control and productivity and all of these things and impulse control and all that than the average person. So technically, you know, I don't know, it's just how you look at it, right? Someone might look at what I'm saying and say, yeah, that you're saying exactly what psychologists say, dude. Like, or someone might say, you know, you're an asshole. So whatever.
Oh.
Nice.
So I'll just keep going. We'll see what.
We need a cricket
I just-
sound back here.
I
What
just
else
don't
was
feel like
going on?
talking about my business today. I didn't even want to be here, quite honestly. So it's.
You just what?
I didn't even want to be here. I don't want to talk about my business today.
I'll talk
So-
about mine.
Oh, go ahead then.
Do it.
That's more interesting than celebrity impersonations or lookalikes.
We'll see. We can always transition back if it's
Yeah.
not,
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I can just see John messaging Josh. Salvage it. Save the conversation.
Let's talk about how Derick looks like Olaf.
Oh,
Hey, Josh can be Screech, and I'll be what's his name? The
Zach
Slater?
Mario Lopez.
Slater.
Yeah.
I used to be blonde. I could be Zach. Anyway, so
That leaves Derick being. I think Derick will be what's her name? The one Tripper movie.
he can be the principal. What's his name?
I'll do the I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
Anyway, so last week I got the automation done for getting new people on board, but I wound up setting up like 6 Calenldy accounts, and then I figured out that Schedule Once will allow you to set up a page that each sign-up page under your account can go to a different calendar.
Okay.
See,
well,
told you. Who told you about Schedule Once?
That was it was actually. I listened to the episode while I was hanging drywall on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And
Hanging
then I
drywall,
was-
is that what caused you to grow that manly beard?
Yeah, that's
the first nail you pounded in, that beard just showed up.
Yeah, no.
I gotta pound some more drywall then. Shit.
Apparently. Jeez.
I've been too busy to shave. Let's put it that way. We're getting a foreign exchange student tonight, and we had to fix some stuff in that bedroom we're putting her in. So.
Yeah, I've been too busy to shave too. I haven't shaved for a day.
Anyway, so I switched it over to Schedule Once. Of course, the Zapier integration isn't working, so I'm working with them right now to figure that out. That's all fun. But yeah, it's actually really nice because it actually costs less than 6 paid Calenldy accounts,
Shocker.
and I can manage it all from one dashboard, which is also really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I'm also at this point 2 weeks past, kind of telling Mandy not to deal with the podcasts. I've dropped the ball once or twice, but for the most part, it's gone pretty smoothly, which, again, just reiterates to me that I made the right call there. But, yeah, this automation stuff, I'm working on automating stuff now for the sponsorships and for the conferences, just because I can clear all that stuff off my plate, so then it's just a matter of, hey, will you speak at the conference? And I can just go fill in a form with the info, and it sends the right email to the right person and makes it all happen. So I'm really excited about that. One thing, though, that I'm kind of wondering about is that I'm currently using Gravity Forms to collect people's information, and I'm going to move to Gravity Forms for the call for proposals. And then I can automate most of that process, too. But I'm wondering if there's a way to do that with the Thrive Leads landing pages so that it pushes it through Gravity Forms.
I Good question. So Thrive, I mean, you could embed the gravity form right into Thrive. That would be what I'd recommend.
How do I do that?
So reiterate what you want to accomplish here.
Let me back out a stage or two, and let's not assume gravity forms for the moment.
Right.
What gravity forms gives me is it gives me a place where I can see all of the form entries, and it also
what do you mean?
Gives me
looking to collect?
Yeah, so I could just like export a CSV or something.
What data are you looking? Is this the
calls for proposals for conferences?
Okay, right, okay.
So I just want a list of those, and then I want some Zapier integration behind it so that it does some automatic stuff.
And then you're thinking of using the Thrive landing page builder just because it's very convenient to lay stuff out.
And it looks nice, and it doesn't have to have the full layout that I have for the podcasts.
Yeah, you can just embed. I would just use Gravity Forms because you get a short code, right, for the form.
Yeah,
and then you
the
can
square brackets that goes in the.
Yep, you can just embed that into a Thrive landing page.
You can do that?
Yep.
Thrive is just WordPress. Just put the short code in there.
Yeah, you might have to experiment with. I think you might have to use the WordPress content. There's like a WordPress content element in Thrive, and you might have to use that. But yeah, I've used actually when I set up Talk, that real-time chat thing.
Yeah.
I was initially using the shortcode in like a custom HTML, like just a custom HTML widget in Thrive. So, yep, you should be able to do that, no problem.
Awesome. Yeah, that makes things easier for me. I mean,
Gravity Forms is pretty awesome.
It's ultimately about the Zapier integration is the big thing I get from Gravity Forms. So,
yep.
If Thrive just did that and submitted somewhere where where Zapier could pick it up, then that'd be fine too. But yeah, I've gotten way into automating crap.
That's good.
But
yeah.
To
force you to move forward, right? Like,
yep.
If you didn't feel this pain, you wouldn't have, had to go down this road. So.
Yep. Well, and I'm going to cancel about $500 or $600 worth of monthly services expenses that I'm just not using much.
Nice. Dang.
So you're going to be
giving
rolling.
Himself the raise that Chuck has given himself in the last month is more than most people make on their full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figure that it's probably a $30,000 or $40,000 a year.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice.
So, yeah. But if I automate away the conferences, then I honestly don't know if I have any work for Mandy. But that's kind of the way things go. She's taking care of Angular Remote Conf, Rails Remote Conf, and React Remote Conf right now. That gives me about three months to figure that stuff out. But by then, I want to have everything set up for next year's conferences so that I can start promoting them now. Because I found that, like, if I go out and I promote the heck out of Angular Remote Conf, which is in about in about a month, I'll make a bunch of money. But I feel like if I can promote it over the course of 6 months, then I can probably double or triple that.
Yeah.
And so I want to start promoting JS Remote Conf, which will be in January again, now. And see if I can get the word out about it. So I'm trying to work that stuff out and get a lot of that stuff automated so that I can just make it happen.
And see, one thing that you can do, kind of the next level up is, as you're doing this stuff, right? Well, I mean, continue automating, but all the stuff that you're not automating, make a process for it.
Yes.
And really detail out that process, and then what you'll be able to do eventually, I mean, if you want to, is you could hire a production person, a producer, who runs that, what I mean, or however you want, and then that totally frees you to move on to expanding the business in the next area, or to figure out what you can do, because it sounds like you'll be able to get to that point where, because right now there's too much stuff. Like, it's like, if you couldn't just hire someone to just handle or if you do, you'll be back in the situation where you were, where it's like not all that stuff needs to be handled, and it's not all the high level stuff. You just need, at some point, when you distill it down, you'll say, okay, this is the part that needs to be done by a human being, and this is the process that they follow, and then it'll be a super easy.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I'm looking at. Is that, if I can automate inviting people to come speak at the conference, then I can just I can actually put up a form that gives them all the relevant information, because that's all the same.
Yeah.
And then I can just train somebody to go and fill in the form.
Yeah.
And if there are one or two people that I have a personal relationship that I want to actually go reach out to myself, I can do that.
Yeah.
Using the same form, but then they go through and they hit the rest of them that way. And what that does then is, then I just need a monkey, I need somebody who has some attention to detail, but for the most part I just need a pair of hands to go type that crap for me.
Exactly.
Like, go pull it out of the CRM, go look it up, go find out what it's about.
Yeah, and then you can just hire somebody who's super reliable.
Yeah, and I can just brain dump in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like you're saying, Josh, hire somebody really reliable to go do all that work. And that's kind of the idea. Because then organizing a conference takes me a few hours.
Exactly.
It takes somebody else a bunch more time, but it only takes me a few hours.
Yep.
Right.
And then I can kind of move from there, and I can grab the next thing. So I'm pretty excited about that and all the automation stuff. And then my big kick right now, besides all of the automation stuff and things like that, I was feeling pretty overwhelmed, just with all of the stuff that I have going on. And it's funny because I don't really feel like letting Mandy go and hiring Podcast Motor changed my workload much. But at the same time, I'm just, I am just totally, I was like, I got way more stuff than I have time for.
Yeah.
And so I put it all in a list, and then it was my other, I have another mastermind group that I talked to on Wednesday. They actually had me put it into a spreadsheet. I'll go ahead and share that with you guys here, but anyway,
put it into a spreadsheet, printed that sucker out, burned that motherfucker.
I was tempted. No, what I did is then I put, so the top headers are the projects, and then down the side are the Mondays of the weeks for the rest of the year, and so then I just started putting it into weeks. So and that made me feel like I have a better handle on some of these things. Some of the things aren't going to get done when I want them to, because I just don't think I can actually get them done if I move them up weeks.
So you're kind of making a Gantt chart then, basically, like blocking out these weeks are for this project and...
Kind of. So there are some things I have to do every week, like reaching out to sponsors and scheduling podcast guests and stuff like that. And I'm hoping to automate all of that. But in the meantime, I've just been doing that. Dang, this is loading slow.
It's because this stupid Google Hangouts uses like 90% of the resources on whatever device it's on. I don't understand.
My CPU is totally pegged. So anyway, but anyway, so I felt like, okay, I had to push some stuff off, but ultimately I'm getting the stuff done that's important first, the stuff that's going to have the big impact. So I've also, like Adventures in Angular, we've had a real tough time getting people scheduled for that, and I don't think I have anyone scheduled next week, but then the 2 weeks after that are scheduled, and I've got like 3 or 4 more people that I'm talking to. So I'm really feeling good about that. And a lot of that process is just, I kind of created a process in Trello, and then I'm just going to work through it.
Cool.
So
well, if you ever have a gap, if you ever like can't get someone for a show, you can always fill me in with I'll talk about soft skills, something on anything, or because you can always do like a non hardcore topic.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've kind of been wondering about. So Ruby Rouges has gone almost exclusively soft skills. Like we almost never talk about technology anymore.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend.
But then JavaScript Jabber, like every week we're talking about a new tech. Adventures in Angular, we're talking about something directly related to Angular, so it's all
Well,
tech.
that's because Ruby's all like legacy stuff now.
Oh gosh, there we go. You're gonna get the death threats now, buddy.
Yeah. No, what's interesting is that
Ruby's the new Cold Fusion, man.
Ruby is the new Java. That's the thing. Like, oh, hey, Java, remember all those years that we made fun of you? I'm sorry.
yeah, we brought Amir
just,
Rajan on to talk about Ruby Motion, and we wound up talking about game development the entire time. And
you know, each show's gonna have its own personality, right? It's like
he did mention Derick Bailey though.
Yeah. In what context?
It was some .NET or C# tool that you wrote in Ruby.
Albacore.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Albacore. Yes.
Holy cow! That project still lives.
That was interesting. Yeah, that was interesting for us at Trackabout because like I delved into that one time just to basically help like change the configuration files. I think they might have been like YAML or something, but yeah, it was like this whole different world, and it was like there was no way to test it either without really like deploying it to production. So it was kind of like, okay, I hope this works.
Yeah. But anyway, I wonder a little bit if we need more soft skills episodes in JavaScript Jabber, maybe some more tech discussions in Ruby Rouges. I keep going back and forth on that, but I'm not quite sure.
What do your downloads tell you?
Ruby Rouges is holding pretty much steady. It's growing slowly, but that's to be expected because, as you said, Ruby is legacy technology. Right. And by that, what I actually mean is not that it's, that nobody's doing it. It's just that it's stabilized.
Yeah,
it's not pure hotness.
Yeah, and so there's not a whole bunch of motion over there, and so people are, they're just using it as a stable system to build stuff.
Yeah, the crazies who have to who want to reinvent everything have moved on.
Yeah, yeah. JavaScript is the one that has all of the hot action, and then
if you want all the hot action, you need to get on the hipster wagon of Rust. Yeah.
I have not heard of this
all
yet.
The big Node people who are tired of the stupidity of JavaScript end up going to Rust just because there's a couple of hipsters that decided Rust was a better language because they like C++ but JavaScript's garbage collection.
It's so weird. Rust is a systems programming language. It's metal. It's designed to program on the metal, but hipsters will do as hipsters will do.
Yeah, but there's a ton of growth and a ton of movement in JavaScript, so that show's growing a lot. Angular, I think once Angular 2 final hits, which should be soon, I think, I think that's going to drive a lot of movement in Angular, so that show should grow. iOS, it comes in a big burst every year around WWDC, and then whenever they release devices, so. But Apple continues to push it forward. So while it's kind of got that stable thing going, at the same time it's also got some innovation going, and so it's kind of a weird animal. But yeah, I don't know. I just wonder if.
Oh, interesting. Sorry, I just did Google Trends on Ruby on Rails, and you should check this out. It
it's going.
When did you? Oh yeah, when did you start? When did you start Ruby Rouges?
2011.
Okay, it peaked around 2007, and it's just been steady decline. It's pretty much just leveled off now.
Yeah, that's kind of what you expect with.
Yeah, that reflects your
with
your
stability.
Growth.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
basically,
we do continue
once it gets to the point where you don't want to kill yourself working on it, it's like everybody moves on.
Yeah. The thing that's interesting about it though is that we tend to attract a lot of people who don't do Ruby now because we're not talking about Ruby.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that. I listened to that. Your Ruby on Ruby Rouges was my favorite, one of my top 3 favorites when I was doing hardcore development.
Yeah, and I didn't say this out loud, but the old panel with James and Josh and Avdi and David and Katrina and I, that was the best. Like, I don't enjoy the show as much as I did. So
Man,
I still enjoy it, but yeah.
You just love like just saying things on EntreProgrammers that cause you pain later on, right?
I still think it's a great show. It's just it's not the same. So, and I think that's some nostalgia talking too. But anyway,
Chuck is living real, man. You cannot stop.
It's like the
him.
original SNL cast, you know.
yeah. But yeah, so I'm kind of fighting that. I don't know how to get those answers per se. I've
You need
also
a Python show. You need a
Python show.
I think so. Python is really picking up speed, especially I think it's being because of machine learning. I think that's the primary thing that's driving Python.
I've had a few people ask for one. I need to just go out and see who's available. The other one that I keep getting asked for is React. So have a React show.
The thing about that is that
I don't know how long that flame is going to burn.
right.
Yeah, that's a little too. I think when you get down to the level of frameworks, technically Ruby on Rails is, but what's that?
Well, Ruby Rouges is about the language, not the framework, but
Yeah.
But
the
the Angular podcast is doing great.
Yeah.
And it's been doing well for the last 2 or 3 years. So
Well, Angular is dominated. I mean, and it may not, in the future, but that one, already has. It had already proven itself enough that I think there's enough apps that are using Angular that it'll be around for a while.
well, and I had 2 or 3 JavaScript Jabber panelists who wanted to start it with me. So
Yeah.
So that made it easy because I could just show up. With React, I think I've got enough interest at this point to where we could probably pull it off. But I don't know if I want to be on it every week.
Yeah, I'd be prioritizing Python before React if I were you. Like if you were to.
Yeah, I keep hearing that. And there are a couple of Python podcasts out there. And some people really dig them, and then I get a few people that are just like, yeah, but they're not as good as what you put together. And I'm just like, well.
Yeah. I was just on the Python podcast,
Podcast in it or whatever.
What is the name of it? See, now I'm going to get myself some hate mail because I didn't. Michael Talk Python. Michael Kennedy's one.
So yeah, it's interesting. I've thought about doing Python. I've also thought about another language that's been picking up steam lately is Elixir and Erlang.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's
someone who you can get on that one.
I could probably talk to Jose, who's he's kind of the creator of Elixir. I don't think he's the whole story there anymore, but
I'm thinking Rob Conner would
yes,
all over that.
Oh, really? He's moved on to Elixir?
Oh, he's like the biggest Elixir fanboy in the world.
Yeah, he is. He's fallen in love with it head over heels. He's still doing some Node and some other things as well, but Elixir is like his main language right now.
Yeah, well, and I know that Josh Adams is he's also way into Elixir. He has a video series he's been putting out for a few years, kind of like Ruby Tapas. And so he'd either be willing to come on as a guest or come on as a regular. Yeah, I think I could pull that together, and I might actually want to be on that one because I think Elixir's cool.
Yeah.
I think React is cool. I just don't have a real strong burning desire to go learn another front-end framework. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of an interesting conversation just to think about. But the other issue is that Web Security Warriors kind of died, which I wasn't on. And React Native Radio is still going strong, but they only have a few hundred downloads every episode. And so, and they've been going for about a year. And so I'm wondering, what I need to do to grow that. But I'm also trying to decide then, once I get a lot of this automation and stuff going, I think I'll share it with those guys if they want it. The guys that are doing shows on my network that I'm not on, that I'm not managing, and just be like, look, feel free to steal this and set it up. But I'm also wondering if I should even be if I should get into the business of helping these podcasts just really get started and take off. And then I can, at the same time help them find sponsors and make that all work and things like that. But where React Native Radio is now, nobody's interested in sponsoring it. Hired.com picked it up because they sponsor everything else. So I don't know. I keep going back and forth on that. But at this point, I've got enough other irons on the fire to where I'm not really thinking about it too much.
My gut instinct on that is that, like, I wouldn't want to be in the business of, like, having to constantly shepherd podcasts to success. Like, if I was in your position, I think I'd be looking to throw out as much as possible and see what sticks and kill off the losers.
Mm-hmm.
And just, because you can only push growth so much if there's not, like, you don't see viral action happening, then it's just going to be this long, slow, steady grind.
Yeah, that's true. The other thing that I have considered is that I could set up a system for all of this stuff. So as far as hosting and all that stuff, promotion, onboarding guests, all that stuff, which I'm going to do anyway for my shows.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could just I would basically hand them a franchise is what I do.
Ooh.
And so then they can either pay me outright every month a franchise fee to be on the network, or I can collect a portion of the sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have a system that doesn't just automate the nuts and bolts of running a podcast, but also can automate some growth into the podcast, then then it's something that I don't have to put a lot of effort into, but then the shows can grow to the point where I can actually find sponsors for them and make them profitable.
The problem is most podcasts die on the vine,
Yeah.
And they don't make money from the beginning. So getting someone to pay you money,
yeah, that's true.
Your clients would have to be like, you'd have to go and look for successful things that don't have podcasts. That have big audiences already. And then go and find them and pitch them and say, look, here's the thing, like, we'll essentially produce your podcast for you. Like, all you gotta do is, get it. We'll ship you a mic. All you gotta do is record this. Right. I'll tell you when. We'll set up the framework and then you pay us this franchise fee. This is like a done for you. You're everywhere, but you don't have a podcast. Now you can have one.
Yeah, I've thought about like approaching Prog or some of these others and saying, look, we'll bring your authors on, or we'll something like that where we work out some fee for content where they pay for content. But I don't know. But yeah, so for right now, I'm just really just focused on this other stuff. So trying to survive. The last few weeks have been crazy. Tomorrow I'm going to a school board meeting, and then I'm going to do Toastmasters training, and then I'm going to the yearly planning for Roundtable for Cub Scouts. Of course, after that, I don't think I have any major events until Angular Remote Conf, so I can start to breathe again. But this whole summer's just been crazy. Yeah. And then the other thing that I've been looking at and working on is that I feel like I need to do better, just kind of be a better person, and figuring out like where my shortfalls are and how to fix those things. That's hard too.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Soft skills, baby. You need to go to a Tony Robbins seminar.
Yeah. Well, the problem is like I have some bad habits, like I tend to bite my nails and things like that, and I want to quit doing those things, and I'd really like to quit caffeine finally, once and for all. I've quit it a few times, but I keep going back to it. Just stuff, just being a little more thoughtful. I don't know. it's easy to say, okay, well, in your business, get more people on your mailing list, and then, pitch them this way and pitch them that way and see which way works.
Yeah.
It seems like it's harder when it's the personal growth stuff.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, self-development is definitely the most difficult. That's like the biggest task that we can accomplish though in life, right? Is like everything that you're doing in your business is really, when you look at it, it's to grow anyway. So as a person,
Yeah.
so
yeah, so I'm figuring that out. I don't know if there's like a surefire way to get better other than read lots of books and do what they say. That's what I've been doing so far.
It's really tough to take on more of that stuff when you're also working on your business and you've got a lot. It's the mental bandwidth. It doesn't matter if it's personal or business. You've only got so much bandwidth, and so it's pretty easy to max that out.
Yep. But anyway.
Oh, so I don't think I've given you guys an update on my book. First of all, the one in China is like still the #1 book in computer books in China. So it must be selling thousands of copies.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then the new book, it sucks right now, actually. Oh gosh, I'm writing the chapters that just suck. They're like informational chapters, and so Derick saw they tried to put this one on web development together, and it's like, because it's just supposed to be, because this section of the book is what you need to know as a software developer. So it's like, we're not going to go into depth in any of these topics, but it's just like, okay, you need to generally know what web development is and what, how people do it and the basics of it. You need to know what back-end development is. You need to know what mobile development is. You need to know what source control is. So I'm kind of skirting over these topics, is trying to just like give you the gist of them and give you what I think might be useful for you to know in general. But there's really no opinion or not much opinion in them, so it's hard to write, whereas the rest of the book is like all like strategies and opinions and stories and stuff. So this is like I'm basically slogging through this portion of the book, even though I feel like what I'm writing sucks, but I'm just moving on, and then I figure either I'll end up cutting out this part, getting some help from someone else to co-write some of these or rewrite these, or I'll rewrite them myself or something, but I'm going to try and not let it stop me from getting through the rest of the book.
This would be an interesting part to bring in co-authors.
Yeah, it would.
Like, you could find some big name people to write like one chapter, and then that would give you a nice little tie-in for promotional stuff later too.
Yeah.
I also wonder though if that part of it isn't a separate product altogether, like how to have a career, and the stuff you need to know to have a career, and then the other one is because I can see like source control maybe is something that every developer or almost every developer is going to need to know, but as far as the details on how web development works, I mean, if you're not interested in it, then
Yeah, but the thing is, it's like you kind of have to have the basics, like just like you have to know enough to almost like pass and even just like to know enough to know what kind of development you want to do if you're starting out. So it's like, I just want to be like, okay, my goal is just to tell you, okay, this is kind of how it works. This is the major technologies involved. This is basically how the web works. Like, you send a request without going too far into detail, just so and then just to clear up the biggest point of confusion, which is the whole server-side versus client-side rendering, to just say, look, okay, there's actually two ways of this, because I think newbies that come in, they're like, what, because half the shit they read is like talking about server-side rendering, and then they're like, but there's like frameworks like Angular I don't understand, And so just to make it very clear, yes, there's client-side rendering and server-side rendering. If you
Yeah.
understand that, you don't have to understand exactly how they work, but if you understand that, then a lot of the stuff that you read sort of makes a little bit more sense.
I still think that you need to come at it from more of a why instead of a what. So instead of saying, here's how web development works, and here's how mobile development works, and here's how IoT development works, and here's how low-level systems programming works. Instead of doing that, I think it'd be more interesting to see something like, are you looking to get into programming or make a transition to another kind of programming? Here are some of the things that you should consider as you make that choice. And then you can kind of go into, so here's a thumbnail sketch, a couple paragraphs about what a web developer does, and here are the handful of things that you may want to know about it. And so then it's not a full chapter, it's just, okay, look, here are some of your options, and, if you're looking to make a change, then, here are some of the things you're going to have to pick up. And and then from there, what I would do is I would just recommend other books or resources for people. Yeah,
so you could start, instead of tackling it as from a technology perspective, it's more like, what kind of person are you, and what are your personal goals, and what types of things do you find interesting, and then here's what you might want to consider as far as directions for your for your career.
And then also just address you may already know that you're learning programming so you can build a particular product, so you need web development. And so you're going to make that decision based on what you need, not necessarily based on your personality or what you like. So just keep in mind that if you're bent toward the kinds of problems that are solved by desktop or mobile development, here are some things that can make web development more palatable for you, or things like that. And but that way, instead of so then it's like, well, what do I need to know to make a good career decision? What do I need to know to make to get where I want to go, instead of here's a really dry chapter on how web development works, because ultimately people don't care about that. They only care insofar as it gets them what they want. And so if you come at it from if you want a happy career and you kind of enjoy these kinds of challenges, then do game development. If you like these kinds of challenges, then do web development. And here's what's involved, and here's why it fits.
Yeah, maybe you come up with a few like archetypes or avatars of like, if where you channel people, and then like if you're gonna be an enterprise developer, you should probably study up on these things.
Right.
And that's where you talk about server-side development and server-side architecture and that type of stuff.
Yeah, one other thing that you may want to do is go talk to your audience. So just send an email out to your mailing list and have them fill in a survey, and basically see which archetype they are currently playing the role as. See if you can get them to answer what they like about their job, like what kinds of challenges do you face, and why do you enjoy those? So what kinds of problems are you solving? And then the last one is can you tell me about an experience where you found that kind of fulfillment in your job?
Right.
And then what you get out of that is you get stories and you get concrete examples. The other thing that I would go after, though, with this, because I think you're missing a couple of other elements of this, is that if people are making career choices, a lot of times it doesn't matter what kind of development they're doing. It matters who they're working with, or it matters how much they're getting paid, or it matters whether or not they feel like they're changing the world, or whatever deal like that. And so if that's part of their fulfillment, if that's part of what gets them up in the morning, then you want to talk around those things too, and just say, okay, so if this is what matters, then worry about these things, and if this is what matters, then worry about these things, and if you just want interesting problems to solve, then here are these archetypes, and here's why you may pick one over the other.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And that actually gets you into a lot more of the interesting, opinionated stuff too, right?
Right, exactly. Where I can just write. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll have to look at that and see if I can.
I think that would be way more valuable.
Totally. Well, then you're telling people, I'm going to give you what you want, or I'm going to show you how to get what you want.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, let me look at what I've got. Because kind of the idea of this section of the book is that this section is more of the like reference manual type of like the overview. But I mean, the chapters are extremely short, but maybe I wanted to see if I have something where I'm talking about what you guys are talking about, and maybe I can either.
I think that that's not really that useful in this type of book. Like, to me, I want this to be I'm putting myself back to where I was 8 to 10 years ago, and what I wanted was like a roadmap that I could follow to where I knew that I was going to be, if I knew these few things, I could consider myself, I could alternate, if I'm going to develop my skills, I know I need to switch back and forth between these 5 topics, right? And I need to kind of level up in all these areas, and that's that. But I didn't know what my goal was, right? So that made it really hard to know what I was supposed to learn. So if you can show me what helped me figure out what my goals are, and then show me what I need to learn based on that, that's like super, super useful.
So that's the beginning of the book. So the first section, the first 2 sections, like the getting started as a software developer, that section of the book is all that. It's a prescriptive model of like going from beginning to like how do you get to actually learning to become a programmer. Like it's telling you, kind of step by step. And then getting a job is that as well. So the getting a job section is very prescriptive, like go do this, do that, do this. This is how you handle negotiation, right? How you leave a job, right? So it's giving you that. And then this next section, that's in question here, the what you need to know about software development. The idea here is to give you a broad base because you need to know this stuff. It's like, here's a bunch of stuff that like you wouldn't know that you need to know, and here's the basics, just like the raw, like if you don't know like what web development, what back-end development is, essentially what mobile development is, what other skills are, including DBA and DevOps, testing and QA, the basics of that, software development methodologies, source control, continuous integration, test-driven development and unit testing, debugging, maintaining code, jobs and job titles, and the types of work. If you don't know that, you're going to have a problem because you're going to have gaps. So the idea was really like, this is sort of the painful, but you have to know this stuff. Like at least be remotely aware of this stuff. If you're not, and a beginner wouldn't know that they need to know this stuff. Right. They would sort of discover. So that's kind of like where I'm going with this. I'm trying to. Yeah. It's not that I'm trying to like give you these skills so that taking web development, for example. I'm just trying to say, look, this is like you got to know a little bit about all of these things. Like you don't have to be an expert. This is what's considered a broad base. And if if someone's talking about this and you don't know about it in an interview, you're gonna look dumb, or you're just not gonna understand what ball field you're playing in, and so.
Right.
Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here. Just want to take a second to thank one of the sponsors for this episode of EntreProgrammers, DigitalOcean. So I've talked about DigitalOcean a lot before on the show, and that's because they're just such an awesome company. I use them to host all of my websites, basically simpleprogrammer.com, which gets around 200,000 page views a month, runs on there, super smooth. Get Up and Code runs on there. The EntreProgrammers podcast that you're listening to right now, we use DigitalOcean for that. I use it for just about everything, and it's such a good deal. As far as hosting goes, right, if you're going to run your own Linux server and do your own web hosting at $5 a month, which is the starting plan for DigitalOcean, you just really can't beat that. It's crazy. And when you do need something super powerful, DigitalOcean comes through for you as well, and it's so easy to scale up to that. I started out on Simple Programmer with a $10 a month box, and I was even able with that to get 100,000 page views a month without much of a problem. But when I wanted to scale up, all I had to do was bring the server down, expand the size, go up to the higher size droplet, and bam, I was up there, and I've expanded it a couple of times since then. So DigitalOcean, definitely awesome company. I would definitely recommend that you check it out if you have any idea of creating a website online, or you want to have your own Linux server to be able to do whatever it is that you want to do, some development or put out a production app. Just a ton of great things that you can do with DigitalOcean. Go to DigitalOcean.com and use the code EntreProgrammers to get a $10 credit. So DigitalOcean.com, EntreProgrammers is your code, and you get $10 credit, good for basically 2 months at a $5 box, so you can check it out.
But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I'll have to figure out, maybe I can use some of what you guys are saying to spruce it up, or maybe to condense some of it in so that it's still informational, but it's a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that the challenge is you're not going to be able to do much that's useful in the amount of space that you have, right? Because each of these topics is pretty huge. And really the goal is to just make people aware that these areas exist.
Exactly. That's it. Yep.
And that's valuable. But to try to go much beyond that, I mean, maybe it is just a chapter, like Chuck was saying.
Well, the other thing you could do is you could put it into appendices, or you could put it into some kind of downloadable side project or sideline project that relates. We've talked, John and I have talked, this is the Programmer Competency Matrix section of the book, right? Discovered this spreadsheet when I was a couple years into programming. It's called the Programmer Competency Matrix, and it was like 15 rows across, and it was like, if you are a senior developer, you should probably know this. If you're just starting out, this is what you should study. And it was super helpful. Like, I was able to go, and it kind of gave you landmarks. What do you need to know to, as a junior person? You should at least know this about source control, and then it would show you like kind of what the next step was. And so I was actually like literally going row by row through that spreadsheet and kind of working on leveling myself up across all those different areas.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what this is similar. So,
right.
I mean, I figure I'm just gonna like get through this now, and then I'll have a little bit of a better view on it. And then the other thing is like, it's gonna get published to the blog, so I'll get plenty of feedback. Like, if it really sucks, if it's really like, these will also see the other piece of this. So there's kind of two things in writing this book. One of them is the book is designed to amp blog traffic. Like, that's the whole, like, every chapter that I have in this book is designed to be a blog post that will hit search terms, like, in a way. So, like, what is web development? That's the chapter is called web development in the book, but the blog post is called what is web development? And so that's going to be good for traffic, right? Or,
right.
All of these topics, what is source control, is going to be good for blog traffic. So, we'll see what happens. The other thing too is like, this thing all going to be chopped up and mailed together. At this point, I think the book is going to be at least a 2-volume set, but it could be each section becomes a volume or a separate booklet, or there's a lot of ways to slice and dice this. But
just keep in mind that you really want to focus on what people are buying this book for. They're not buying it to learn about source control. They're buying it because it'll explain to them a skill that will help them get a job or help them move up in their career. And so if you can kind of keep that front and center as you write the book, then people will feel a whole lot more like you're talking to them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So it's like, why do you need to know this? More of like,
I keep telling people, and this is something I'm putting into my How to Find a Job book, is they're not hiring you to write code.
Right.
In fact, they're not even hiring you to solve problems. They're hiring you to get done whatever it takes for their boss to be happy with them. That's what they're paying for.
Yep.
They're paying the company's money, but that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
So if you come in and you can demonstrate to the manager that you're going to be an asset that achieves whatever aims the board or the CTO have, then they'll hire you.
Right.
And if you don't, then you won't. And so, and it's the same thing. People aren't buying my book to find a job. They're buying my book because they want to have a more fulfilling life. They want to be able to spend more time with their kids, and they feel like if they make more money. And so if I make those connections for them and say, look, you're looking for something that you enjoy more. You're looking for something that you can go to work, 9 to 5, and then come home and spend time with your kids. And if I can talk about those points and hit those things, then that's what goes. And then for the people that don't have kids to come home to, you're looking for something that just inspires you, or things like that. And that's what they're buying the book for. They're looking for inspiration. They're looking for a way to get in to do something fun.
Yep.
And so if you talk to those deep down feelings that some programmers have, then they'll buy.
Yeah, and that's what most of the book is like. Is about. That's why I'm struggling with this part. Is like, I can write like 3,000 words in an hour on something that I'm passionate about, but the other pieces are not as easy. So, but this is I'm kind of considering this my my opus, whatever.
Magnum opus.
Yeah, my magnum opus of software development, because as I'm writing this, I'm like, I'm losing this, these chapters would have been the easiest chapters for me to write like a couple of years ago, and now they're the most difficult. So I'm like, okay, after I'm done writing this, I'm done writing about software development. Like you know what I mean? Even though my audience may still be software developers, like I'm not connected enough to be able to be the person doing this.
Now what we need to do is get all of the programmers you've helped up on stage so that they can play a symphony for you.
Exactly.
Mr. Sonmez.
Oh, okay. I always think I went to Charlotte's Web on that one, and John's the spider that's gonna crawl
I'm
the corner and die. Yeah.
But I am about halfway through the book, and I'm at like 75,000 words, so or it'll probably be more than that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm somewhere around there. Maybe it'll end up being 150,000, or I was anticipating it'd probably be about 200,000, but we'll see. But I've got like 30 more chapters to write. I think I'm on chapter 25 or something like that. So
yeah. I would have reviewed your chapter, but by the time I saw it, it was last night, and I still had 200 emails I needed to either archive or answer. So.
Yeah, no sweat. But I'll just keep on. Once I get through this part, then it'll be smooth sailing again. So I just gotta push myself to get through it.
And some spam dog keeps sending me your chapters.
Are you signed? I wonder how. How's Chuck getting those, Josh?
Well, I went ahead and added pretty much the whole email list to that campaign.
oh yeah. So he's getting
Yeah.
So he's getting them on a weekly basis as they come out.
Yeah.
Not on a daily basis.
No.
Which I was looking at that. You might want to change that so that the regular cadence is not on a daily basis.
It's not. It's weekly.
It
they're
1 day apart,
Yeah,
but maybe okay.
Yeah. They're 1 day apart on the next available Monday.
Oh yeah, okay.
So it only sends once a week, basically. Yeah. But it'll send. So you get the welcome email, and then it'll send 1 day later on the next Monday, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So that way we don't. There's not a big gap between when people sign up for it and when they get the first email.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I'm curious about the way you're doing this. So you're posting them to the blog, the chapters, and then you send them to the mailing list. I'm really curious to see how this works out as far as people buying the book. I guess if they like the book, they'll probably go buy it, though.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like this is kind of the master plan here. There's like a few different things I think that we're gonna do with this. which is one of them is the book will be finished well before the blog posts are all published to the
Right.
Yeah.
because
We've got like
I mean,
if you've got 50 chapters, that's a whole year.
yeah.
Oh, you're posting every
Week.
So
week.
One a week.
when I finish this book, right? Most, like, if someone has started at the beginning, like they might. I'm anticipating we'll be on blog post number 20 or maybe 25 if we're even there. So if they're reading along and they're liking this, and then all of a sudden we finish this, and then we launch, and we're like, hey, do you want to buy the full version of the book, or do you want to wait another year?
Oh, that makes sense.
It's going to be a no-brainer, right? But then it's also going to continue to be lead magnets for the existing people or for the new people, because even after you've published the book, if someone comes and they find chapter 1 online for free, they're not going to go and hunt for every chapter 2, chapter 3, because we're not going to link them together easily.
Yeah.
Now, you can sign up and you'll get the emails and you'll get them sent to you once a week, which is fine if you want to consume it that way, but you'll have in every single one of those emails, you'll have the upgrade offer to say, hey, buy the book.
Right.
Not only that, but when we put out the book, we're not just going to put out the book. I'm going to record the audio version of it, and then we're probably going to do some videos and supplemental material and make a $200 package, right? So we'll also have, even if you've read the books chapter by chapter, you would still want to get the supplemental type of material. So I think there's a lot of a lot of things we can do there. Plus, just my audience, right? I mean, the exposure of the people that have come to the blog and seen the book versus when we put it out on Amazon and Audible, that's a way bigger marketplace. Like, it's not putting it out for free on the blog. It's not going to put a dent in the. I mean, there's millions of software developers. Our target audience is huge. So.
Yeah. Plus, we've got by sending the emails out every week, we basically get I've wanted to have an ongoing nurture campaign where people are just hearing from us every week, and this way we're building that, and basically the ongoing nurture that everyone will get will probably be the book long term, and so we're building that for free, and then we're also sending people back, continually sending people back to the blog where they share it. It helps keep basically, it's like a permanent traffic machine. Every Monday when those emails go out, we see a big spike in traffic, and we usually get some nice viral shares and everything.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
I was going to say, overall traffic has lifted quite a bit. We're hitting like around 5,000 page views a day now.
Yeah, wow.
It looks like we're getting some Google love too.
Yeah, Google's liking us more on the web page, on Simple Programmer, and on YouTube. Suddenly, Google started to like us more on YouTube as well, because subscriber count has significantly increased on a daily basis. So. Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole idea of this book. This isn't the most fun book for me to write, because I like, to write books about picking up chicks as a programmer. That's what I like in diet programs, but the thing is, this is like this is the technical content that is going to attract people into the stuff that I really want to tell them about, right? It was like just like you were saying, is like programmers are not searching for how to improve their lives, right? That's what they need. And that's what is going to benefit them the most and make them the rabid kind of fans that are like, man, this is like awesome. They're searching for, and primarily because it's a rapidly growing field, how to get a job, how to get started as a programmer. And then the career skills. How do I get a raise? How do I They're searching for the more technical aspects of career development. And so we get them in on that. This book is really just is a huge lead magnet for getting people that, because it's the net that I'm fishing with right now it has a whole bunch of holes in it. It sucks because it's valuable stuff, like when people connect across it, but they're not looking for it, and so it's really, really hard to attract. Like, I can write phenomenal blog posts about how to improve your self-confidence or something like that, but it doesn't matter because programmers aren't finding it, right. And even on the YouTube. So the whole like kind of focused idea behind this, at least the vision I had behind this, is that okay, this is going to give us this huge like guide for software developer careers, which is going to attract a ton of people from the blog. We'll be able to do a lot of stuff with this, and then that's going to give us, as those people come in, we can equip them with the other stuff and that they need. So.
I might steal this tactic too, because I really like it. And the thing is I mean, my book probably won't have 50 chapters, but it'll probably have 15 or 20.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if I write it in 3 or 4 weeks, then there's plenty of time where it's, hey, get the whole thing, or get it in one convenient format or whatever.
And you can beat me to the market. Like, what I can like spend a bunch of money advertising. I'll make big billboards about my end of the world Armageddon movie, and then you'll come in there and you'll be like, end of the world, War of the Worlds. And like, I'll make a natural disaster movie, and you'll like make the like, you know what I mean? And then everyone will think that that's the one that they saw the big billboard for. And then they'll
right.
They'll buy. They're like, I thought it was like 70 chapters. I guess it is 15. That's pretty good though.
Oh, I'm not going after nearly as ambitious a project as you are.
Yeah.
So.
No.
But yeah.
It's plain. But yeah, that's the plan at least. I think that should work out well. I had to reset on the diet and the fitness product because I screwed up in China. So I'm getting back there. That's the story behind this, by the way. I just did a YouTube video. It's like every morning I wake up and I'm like, you done fucked up, son. So you need to. So I don't shave it until I get back to where I was.
Oh, okay.
That's at least, right? But by the time I get back to where I was, I guess I'll be in about a week. Then I might like it. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm back on track. I started actually I was fasting. Most of the time, instead of doing low carb on Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm just doing a complete fast to accelerate the pace. And I'm testing it out sort of to see if this is actually more effective than what I was doing. So far, I can't tell yet, but I only have about a week's worth of data.
I have a week's worth of data about your state of mind, so I might have to call this experiment early. We'll see.
We'll see. But that's also the other test of it is to like, can you and also when I did the eat one meal every other day experiment, I don't know if I'm essentially doing that now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know if I pulled it out. I think if I draw it out long enough, I can adapt mentally. See.
Oh gosh.
I have to keep on pushing myself to the limit. I'll tell you that the weekend I failed last weekend. I ended up breaking the fast on Sunday night and eating a little bit. But this weekend.
Wait, so you're trying to skip? You're trying to eat Friday, skip Saturday, skip Sunday, and eat Monday?
Yes.
You
Monday
are insane.
Yeah, it's almost a 3-day fast.
Oh
so,
my gosh.
Guys, I failed on Sunday night.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the mental resolve. So
man,
this week though, after I eat tonight, I'm gonna plan on not eating until Monday night.
Oh my goodness.
See if I can.
I will be.
I will be at your funeral.
Here's the catch though. Here's the thing though. That would actually be easy to do if you just like did nothing. If you played video games or something like distracted. But I have to run 20 miles. Because I'll be running 10 miles on Saturday and running 10 miles on Sunday. And actually last weekend I did not make it. Well, I was untrained though because remember I took off for 3 weeks and without running or weight training. before then I was running 40 miles a week, right? I was running 10 miles 4 times a week. And then I got back, and immediately that Thursday I ran 10 miles. And that was extremely painful. But then that weekend, on Saturday I made it 10 miles, but on Sunday I made it like 4 miles, and I looked at my heart rate and it was like 190, and I was like, yeah, probably should start walking. 190 is probably not a healthy heart rate, so I think too much stress on the system.
Ouch.
Actually, you know what I think it was? I think I corrected my problem now. I think it was an electrolyte imbalance. I think what might have happened was because normally when I'm fasting for 1 day, right, or have essentially close to 24 hours. But if I'm fasting from Saturday and then all day Sunday, I probably need and I ran on Saturday and sweated a lot. I probably need electrolytes. And if you're not eating anything and you're just drinking water, so I got some. My plan for this weekend is to get some Powerade Zero or to pound some pickle juice and then run on Sunday. So
definitely go with the pickle juice. You need more things to make your life miserable. So.
There's actually a name for this particular diet plan, bulimia. Seriously, this is the most unhealthy thing you have ever told us that you are doing, John.
It's not unhealthy though.
It is incredibly unhealthy.
I'm extremely healthy. I can push myself to the limit and beyond. Like,
you're gonna give yourself a heart attack pushing yourself to the limit when you're low on the electrolytes and don't have any nutrients to replace what you're using.
Well, okay, so that
you're seriously just gonna go straight into drop over dead, heart stopped, because there is literally not an ounce of salt or sugar in your body to send that electric signal to your heart.
Well, that's why I'm fixing that oversight, that problem. Plus the stimulants I was jacked up on, so I'm.
The crack doesn't help.
Oh my goodness! All right, I will have to contain my. I will have to refrain from. John's got me doing low carb cycling, so I'm doing low carbs on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and I've been complaining to him that I have been hungry, so I will stop doing that. I'm probably not going to get a lot of sympathy.
I don't have very much sympathy for people when they tell me they're hungry. It's funny. I'm like,
hungry? You don't know hungry.
It's good though, but I'm looking at. Well, I mean, I have to push the boundaries of the extreme so I can figure out where this is. I mean, I am definitely onto something that honestly I think no one's done before. Like I'm getting absolutely. A
lot of people have done this before, and they end up in hospitals.
I'm getting ridiculous results, as far as.
And that's called anorexia.
Well, no, I'm gaining muscle. My weight is not dropping, so it's yeah. Whatever. You don't understand. Man. You don't get it.
Because no anorexic person has ever said that before.
Well, I mean, typically, like, really the only difference between anorexia and a bodybuilder is muscle. That's it. Honestly, that's it. Really, that's it. Like, you would define any bodybuilder as totally anorexic if they didn't have muscle. So it's the reason for doing it, I suppose, is the difference. So and can you quit? Well, that was also another thing. Like to be honest with you, when I didn't follow the plan in China, I kind of wanted to test myself to see if I was crazy, if I did have like a neurosis that like could I actually stop? So I did. I stopped for 3 weeks. And, so yeah. Now I'm back on the horse. It'll be the diet program that no one will ever do because it's so
well, it goes back to that same point, right? Where there's a certain outcome you want.
Yeah. But you know, here's the thing, though, right? Okay, so like, I think people will actually do this. It's like breaking the sub 4 minute mile, right? It's like when the guys came up. I guarantee you, when the guys came up with the concept for Tough Mudder, I guarantee they didn't think they didn't think girls would be doing it. They didn't think that that teenage girls would be signing up for this shit to run 10 miles and go through like barbed wire and stuff, or the Spartan race or whatever it is, right? They're like, we're gonna make something really hard that like only like elite people are gonna try to do, and now everyone does it. So I think once you break that barrier, and if you're prescriptive enough, that you will get people, and people are getting the results that they want. So I don't know. I mean, everything, the best. You got to do things because you want to do them, and if everything that you want to do, there's always someone else who wants to do that too, right? So I guarantee you, when I put this program out, even the extreme version of it, there's going to be a ton of people that are going to be like, yes, I totally want to kill myself and drink pickle juice. That is freaking awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Nice. Well, I've been sending emails promoting my webinar here. So I started that on. I sent the first. Well, I put up last week. I put up the non-sales page. That's literally just a headline, a subheadline, and a buy now button. And I was able to sell 2 seats to this thing before I even announced it to my list. So that was pretty good validation. And then I sent out the first email yesterday, and it seems like so between yesterday and today, I think I've sold about 11 more seats.
Nice.
So yeah, so it's definitely. I think I'll probably sell a couple a day. I'm going to promote it every day now through the end of the month, and I think it's I've been selling. I think I'll probably sell 1 or 2 a day through the end, and then maybe get another little windfall at the end. I'm hoping to bring in about $1,000 from this, so that would be pretty nice. But yeah, my email yesterday, I told people to unsubscribe. I was actually curious to see what would happen when I did that. Nice. Basically told a story about somebody's view of marketing that's like pretty contradictory to mine. I said, if you agree with this guy, unsubscribe yourself right now. And I did not get it. Yeah, I did not get a big spike in unsubscribes. So people either just ignored me or I think my list mostly agrees. I did get a couple people replying and saying, I'm not unsubscribing, which is...
You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah. So it's so we'll see how it goes with that. I did decide to, so this week I decided to basically hire a coach to help me get this product done. Basically, I'm going with the personal trainer model here, and I'm just hiring someone to kick my butt to help me get this thing put together. And so Ben Settle was promoting this week a Danny Inney, who is a he's got his main platform is audience building, but he's got this it's kind of like a hand-holding prescriptive program to help you build online courses, and you get assigned a personal coach if you go through it. And so I decided to sign up for it, and their approach is to they show you how to do, they help you build a pilot, I think probably what I'm going to end up doing is doing a pilot launch with 10 to 20 people, and it's going to be, the initial version of it's going to be a little bit more high touch, where it's a combination of webinars and coaching, so that I can pitch it to people and say, look, you're going to get more personal attention from me than you'll get in the final version that I'll release later. And basically the idea with the pilot is to validate it, and then also to learn how to teach your thing, which I feel like that's what I need. And so they don't have you plan out the whole thing ahead of time. Even you have a rough outline of what you're going to cover, and then you teach it, get feedback week to week, and so you're not having to build this big thing, and then and before you launch it. So we'll see how it goes. It's the program's structured to get you to your pilot launch in 60 days. So like mid-October, I will be locked and loaded on that. And then this webinar is kind of a good. I basically need this make the announcement, commit to it, then build it type of thing to get me to stop spinning my wheels and actually get it done. So I'm kind of nervous about it. I'm going to step back. So I'm still considering the email course angle on it, but I'm going to do the whole process. Like I'm going to survey my list, and I'm going to find out if there's some other big question that I could tackle instead. So, and if the email courses ends up coming out of that as being the best thing to sell, then I'll go ahead with it. But I'm going to basically work the process and not I'm not going to pigeonhole myself prematurely here. I want to see what my list is really looking for.
I don't know. I would just do the email course at this point. Like, I kind of want to link you what's his name? Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Do it.
Well, I'm kind of already doing that with this webinar. So
you've got that. But
yep.
But ship the thing, like just.
Well, yeah.
Like the worst that you can do is fail in. Well, okay. Just listening to you, I think the psychology of it is right now, you're results driven. Like you feel like you need to do this to achieve a result, but I think you need to shift your goal into I'm doing this to learn a thing, to grow, because that's a lot less pressure. Because it doesn't matter what the result is, if you're right. You see what I'm saying? So I think that's what's tripping you up here.
Right.
Is that it just needs to be like this is a learning process. And it's a step, like you don't learn until you take this step. So the faster you want to learn, go ahead and take this step. So I would definitely, like you said, put this stake in the sand and and figure out what is the date and then make the thing happen. And you've already the email course I think makes sense. Like that's definitely something that people need. It's almost like I feel like that. Again, I'm slightly working against my own interests here, but I feel like that's a guaranteed success, and you've got the network to make it a success. And it's almost like you're simultaneously fearing failure and success at the same time.
Well, what? I guess my biggest thought on that is like there might be something. So the email teaching. The whole how to do an email course thing is big, and I'm thinking that there might be something smaller that gets me to my launch quicker. That is like a quicker win for my audience. Like, does that make sense? What I don't want to do is I don't want to get in a situation where I'm selling where I have to sell a solution to a problem that they don't think they have, right? That's like the worst case scenario. So.
No, the worst case scenario is that you don't do anything. Because that scenario is okay.
That's true.
Because
that's true.
That scenario, you learn something and you have a product out there, and it might not sell as well as you want, but you've got something.
Right. Well, okay. So like one example. So maybe, all right. So it doesn't hurt anything for me to spend an extra week and do some survey work with my audience. And maybe what comes out of that is like we just need you to teach us like how to write a subject line, or we just need you how to like I just can't get my butt in gear and consistently get an email out every week, and I just need help with that. Versus like me teaching them this big system that ends up being too much for what they actually need. Does that make sense?
Yeah. The only problem is you're not going to sell how to write a subject line for $99.
No, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got to build something that's big enough that.
Right.
I mean, you have to kind of be like Steve Jobs here. You know what they need. like you know it's going to be effective enough. I mean, you're not just like you've got some science behind this. You've been in this marketing space, you've been in the email space, and you have evidence, empirical evidence from what you've done with Simple Programmer to know that, yeah, you create educational email courses, learning courses in this style, this is going to be effective, and this is what you actually need. So I think you've got the authority on it, and this is, I mean, if you don't do this, someone else will. That's guaranteed.
That's true. Yep.
So I don't know. Again, I'm working slightly against my own interest because I would prefer to have you working on just Simple Programmer stuff.
Well, see, when you keel over due to a lack of electrolytes.
Exactly. Yeah, you're gonna be the Simple Programmer dude. You better start making YouTube videos because you're gonna be the guy. You're gonna have to take over. But no, I mean that's how I know that you can know that the advice I'm giving you is somewhat genuine, at least what I think, because it is against my own interest. But yeah, I honestly think that you need to do this, and you will be successful with it, and you're just do it. Like if you're gonna fail. You're not gonna fail, but if you do, then you can only fail if your goal is results. If your goal is growth, you cannot fail.
Right.
So make your goal growth. It's a learning experience. You're gonna make this decision on 70% information and go forward.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you could whip this sucker out quick, right? You could. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is V1, MVP.
Yes. Yeah. It has not been quick for me. It's been a real struggle. So, yeah, I think committing to this, like I spent a good chunk of money on this, and that alone I think is going to. I do really, really well. Like I did this last year with the coaching. When I signed up for that, I was able to I pretty much knew, like, the stuff I did with my coach last year. I knew basically she helped me with some of the details, but I knew what I needed to do, and just having the accountability and the deadlines, and they were even deadlines I set to myself, but since I made them to my coach and I was paying her, it was enough to keep me moving. So that is what I'm trying to do with this. No, that is what I'm doing with this. There is no try. Yeah.
What is the ship date?
I haven't picked it yet, but I will pick it this weekend probably. It's going to be October sometime.
Okay.
So, and I will be talking about it. I will be announcing it publicly probably before that, so like well before that.
Yep.
I'll probably start promoting it at least a month out, so I'll probably start promoting it like end of September. So, but yeah, the webinars definitely seems like it's getting some traction, so I'll be excited by that. It's funny because I recognize most of the names of people that are signing up. They're like, okay, yep, talk to him, talk to her. It's like all the hyperactive people on my list who email me every week or every 3 days that are signing up. So.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. So you've got how many signups total?
I think it's 12 right now.
Okay. And so your list size is how much now?
Well, I've got 2,000 2,050 or so, and then I'm really I only send out about 1,280 or so emails on my daily email list because everybody else has got a lead score of 0 in drip, and they're basically dead because they probably signed up with a spam email address to get the King Sumo code, and they're not reading my stuff anymore. So
yeah, okay. So you might get like a 3 to 5% conversion total when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think I'll be happy with like around I think 2 to 3 is probably doable. So for the pilot, I'd like to. My goal is to price that around $500, I think, and try to get 20 people into it. That's a stretch, I think, with my current list.
Yeah, that would be good if you can do that. 20 people at.
Yeah, that's my target with it. Yeah. So then I'd iterate on it from there. Do as many smaller classes as I think I need to get it good, and then I can roll it out to more of a JV type of. When I get to that point, it's going to be I'll be able to do big launches with it. So.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's the main development for me, and then I launched the new email course for how to market yourself is currently rolling out. I've got most of the emails outlined, and I'm writing them as I go, basically. So I've got 3 of them published, and I haven't seen any sales come through yet for it, but the click-through rates on it are looking pretty good. Click-through rate on the first email is 5%, and the second email is 8.6% right now, which I'm sure will probably drop as we get more people going through it. But yeah, so that's good. Actually, my main objective on those first few emails is just to get them onto the sales page, get them to have some idea what the product is, and then so they're familiar with it, and I ramp up the pitching as we go. So yeah, we'll have to see how that. But that's been a fun email course to write so far. So and the oh my goodness, the Thrive form has been kicking butt. I used the headline is 7 reasons why you're underpaid as a software developer, and then I picked this picture from what we'd used on a blog post, I guess, of just a developer sitting there watching TV with the remote, and that's been like people have been kind of going crazy over the opt-in. So that seems to be working. So we'll see. It'll be a couple weeks at least before I have any data on whether it's actually going to convert or not. But early indications are looking good.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it for me. And then just the carb cycling has been an adventure. It's basically hard the day that I do it, because like I eat less calories and I eat low carb, and then that evening is hell.
Yeah.
Because I'm like all tired and brain foggy, and then the next day is pretty. I feel pretty good, and then I get my carb fix.
Yeah. Get to carb up and.
Yeah.
That really works though. That is critical because it's selectively. It makes sure that the carbs that you take in are not going to be shunted towards replenishing glycogen stores. So you're basically avoiding fat storage on any of that. So
yeah,
it works on both sides. It both increases muscle mass as well as it gives you a double whammy of fat burning, because it increases the fat burning on the non-carb days as well as the fat burning on the carb days. So it should work. We'll see what the results are, but definitely, I was actually looking back at my historical data over the last 6 years with my scale, and I was like, when did I have the most effective results I've ever had? Like looking at fat percentage and pound drop. And surprisingly, it was Hawaii. That's when I started doing the 1 meal a day. Mm-hmm. And why? Well, because you know what my protocol in Hawaii was? It was 2 and 1. So 2 days I would eat chicken and broccoli, essentially, and then 1 day we would eat out. So every third day we would eat out. But the other 2 days I was eating chicken and broccoli, which is carb cycling,
right,
essentially.
Yeah.
So I was doing carb cycling then, and I was making the best gains, essentially, transformation wise. So It's funny, I didn't put the pieces together until this time around, when I was like, oh, that's why I was actually doing the most. I had stumbled upon what is the most effective thing.
Nice.
So.
I think we're wrapping up.
I think so. I think Derick's like, I just want to fucking play video games.
Pretty much.
Should we do our thoughts for the... Oh, one last thing. I got to meet, Eric and his wife. And they were in San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
So
cool.
that was cool. Yeah, so we went out to... he came down to Pacific Beach, and we went out and got some burritos, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to meet him in person. So, hey,
Nice.
Eric.
Nice.
I should have met him when he lived in Fort Worth. That was only a couple hours away. But he moved off to I can't remember where now.
I think it's Lubbock.
Yeah, that's right.
That's still in Texas. That's pretty close.
Dude, you can drive for 12 hours straight and still be in Texas.
I know.
Yeah, I met him at Podcast Movement.
Nice.
It was just cool.
Yeah.
People, you know them. You know what they do for you. Yeah.
So, shall we do our thoughts?
So my thought really is it comes back to that thing, right? It's why do people want what they want? And then I've been reading this book for the other group that I meet on Wednesday, and it's called Switch by Dan and Chip Heath. So I've listened to the first couple of chapters, and one of the things that they talked about was that rather than trying to convince people intellectually about why they should do something, they hit them with something else that appeals to them emotionally or simplifies something to the point where they feel like they can relate. So, for example, one of the things that they talk about in the book is that they were trying to get people in Vietnam to feed their kids differently so that they wouldn't be malnourished. And so instead of going in and trying to give them classes on nutrition, what they did is they went in and they talked to the families of the people or the kids who were not malnourished and found out what they were doing and then helped them show the other people whose kids were malnourished, and they called it finding the bright spots. And so instead of finding the examples of things that aren't working, they found the examples of things that were working and then allowed people within that context to get the idea. And they were able to solve a whole bunch of malnourishment issues there. And, just stuff like that where I think a lot of times, especially I have this problem where I'm explaining to somebody why they ought to do something, and instead I need to appeal to, maybe there's just one thing that you can change that's going to make a difference, or maybe there's some way that I can explain or demonstrate to you why that's important without making the major sacrifices on, because ultimately it's the outcome that really matters. So just understanding motivations and then providing people with those ways of really getting what they want and helping them understand the steps to getting to where they need to be.
Nice. Rational argument is highly overrated as a way of accomplishing anything.
Yes.
It's true. And they have a metaphor in the book that they go into, but I'm not going to go into it right now for that.
What other book did they write together?
They wrote Made to Stick, which is fantastic.
I have that one too.
Yeah, highly, highly recommended.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I've got a thought. My thought for the week is that there are very few lucid moments in your life where you have the perspective to alter the course of it or to actually have any kind of control of your life. We have this illusion that we're in control of our lives, but really we're running on autopilot 90% of the time. And so it's absolutely critical that when you have those moments of clarity, when you have an idea or a direction that you want to take things or a life change that you want to make, that you figure out some way to remind yourself of it. Because a lot of the things, some of the things we don't accomplish in life, we don't accomplish them because we're lazy or don't have the commitment or discipline to follow through. But a huge chunk of them is just because we forget our high ideals, we forget the kind of person we want to become or the kind of life that we want to live, and we just have a flash in the pan moment, 3 minutes before you fall asleep where you realize it, but then you forget it the next morning, or you remember it the next morning, but you remember it for a week, but then it drops off. So you got to have systems in place that remind you of who you want to become and what you really want to do with your life, those that you get from those moments of clarity. And the reason why I'm saying that is again, it relates back to the spirit thing. This is like, I realize that I do this a lot, that I don't want to lose my ideas. And so, for example, like I think of it as like going out with out of a spaceship without a tether. It's like when I was in China, like not doing my program, not running, not lifting weights, not doing my diet, my anorexia. I was out in space, right? And I could drift forever. It's real easy to go for 3 weeks and then forget what your mission was and never come back. I mean, it's really easy to then just become a fat pig or whatever, like just totally after 3 weeks. So I needed a tether, and you always got to have that. So my tether was, I'm not shaving because every morning I have to look in the mirror, so I cannot possibly forget that I'm still on the mission and still on the goal. I've shaved my head a few times for that same purpose, but I think that it's something that a lot of people don't realize, that it's like you've got to figure out some way to remind yourself. Otherwise your life is not in your control. You talk about having free will. We think we have free will, but really we run on autopilot. And so how can you stop yourself from running on autopilot? You got to have like the few out-of-body experiences you have where you're able to see above yourself. You have to now communicate to yourself, create some kind of calendar reminder, whatever it is that makes it so that you do the thing that you intend to do. And there we go.
Yep. I guess mine is hire a personal trainer, or the equivalent for whatever your goal is. Outside accountability.
Yeah, I think I would just echo what Josh said. I'm dealing with a lot of that right now with the things that I just don't feel like talking about today because my brain is fried, and yeah. But accountability is important. And having somebody that is not you to look at what's going on and ask the hard questions. So, especially if it's somebody that you're paying. I mean, having this group is great because you guys ask a lot of hard questions. But when you start paying someone to ask those hard questions, it becomes significantly more difficult to ignore the questions and answers that they provide.
If you want to start paying me.
All right, guys.
All right. Next time.
Same bat time, same bat channel. Actually, crap, next week I won't be here because I'm doing a webinar.
Okay.
So I'll see you in 2 weeks. Yeah, I know.
Okay.
All right.
See you guys.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Wanna start a business but you just know how to code? Listen to John, Josh, and Derick as we figure it out. We are the EntreProgrammers, and we'll teach you straight